is born, there's a struggle that is fought to be welcomed, to be cared for, to be at home. Today, when all life seems bought and used, there's a struggle to belong, to be free and to be a gift to everyone. We call all families, rise up and raise your hands as one. Come show the world the love that binds all God's children into one. We call all families, share the treasure that's in your hands. What can save us now? What can lead us now? What can make us all be one? Only selfless love. Jesus showed the world that only selfless love can bring 100-fold of fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, homes, where peace and mercy reign, where faith and hope remain, where life begins and ends in God's embrace. Calling all families, let's make it happen through only selfless love. Like the Holy Family with Jesus, Joseph, and Mary, home is where true love begins. Love rejoices, love embraces. We call all families, rise up and raise your hands as one. Come show the world the love that binds all God's children into one. We call all families, share the treasure that's in your hands. What can save us now? What can lead us now? What can make us all be one? Only selfless love. Jesus showed the world that only selfless love can bring 100-fold of fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, homes, where peace and mercy reign, where faith and hope remain, where life begins and ends in God's embrace. Calling all families, let's make it happen. Calling all families, let's make it happen through only selfless
our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Spirit. Amen. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chalk Talk Online. Chalk Talk Online is a teacher training program that Bosco Press provides its client schools. But this time, we're going on teacher training. We recognize the importance of the family support to be able to ensure the success of the education of the children. So for today, we have our topic, strengthening family relationships for home-based teaching, Facebook live stream. So there. So let's not delay this any further to formally welcome all of you and to introduce our speaker for today, would like to call now the Executive Director of Don Bosco Press, Brother Carmelo Martinez, Salesians of Don Bosco.
Good morning to our dear friends and participants to this Chalk Talk Online. We are happy to be with you this morning and we thank you for choosing to spend your morning with us. In a special way, we thank Miss Maribel Season Dionisio, co-founder of the Love Institute, herself a family and marriage counselor and book author, for partnering with us at Don Bosco Press. We strongly believe in the power of working together and collaboration, and we are grateful to Miss Maribel and to the Love Institute for partnering with us. We hope too that you, our dear viewers, will be our collaborators in making sure that we are able to deliver quality education through quality educational resources. It is our hope as well that you will all have an enriching morning with us. This is just an overview of a whole series of seminars aimed at assisting especially the parents coming from our partner schools. But this is very much open also to anyone who would like to learn a lesson or two in navigating through our changing and challenging times. We are all excited for this online seminar because this is the first time that we are moving our seminar venue to Facebook Live. And this is in order to give more chance for people to benefit from this timely and relevant discussion on strengthening family relationship for home-based schooling. Please feel free to check here in our Facebook page our other seminar offerings. Likewise, please like and follow our page so that you get to be updated with the different offerings of Don Bosco Press. Also, if you want to do some catching up of our previous Chalk Talk online sessions, we are uploading all the video recordings of these seminars in our YouTube channel, and we will announce it once it is ready. Muli, maraming salamat sa inyong pagdalo at pagpalain tayo ng buong may kapal. It is also my honor to introduce to you our speakers this morning. For our main speaker, we have Miss Maribel Season Dionisio. Miss Maribel has been a relationship and parenting expert for the past 20 years, and together with her husband, Dr. Alan Dionisio, she has been helping couples prepare for marriage for the past 25 years. She is a graduate of the Family Ministry course of the Loyola School of Theology of the Ateneo de Manila University. She is also a certified imago therapist of the Imago Relationship International, New York. She has also authored several books on love, marriage, and relationships, two of which has been published by Don Bosco Press. They are The Teen Crush and Thinking of Marriage, and they are still available in the market. We are also lucky that our speaker is joined this morning by her sons, who have been part of the Love Institute as well since they were still kids. We have Mr. David Dionisio, a graduate of AB Communication from the Ateneo de Manila University and currently the external moderator of Miriam College Mini Theater Club. He has been he's been active in the performing arts as a theater practitioner and vocalist and guitarist of an acoustic band. We also have Mr. Rafael Dionisio. He is a social entrepreneur who focuses on the development of farmers and indigenous people, as well as on sustainability and the preservation of our forests and natural resources. He is a three-time TEDx speaker and a recipient of several awards on business, tourism, and promotion of sustainability and of our natural resources. Friends, let us welcome our speaker and sharers this morning. And thank you very much. May God bless us all. Okay,
There. Okay.
there you go. Yes,
There.
welcome. Good morning. We can see you now.
Okay. We'll close this. Okay. Hello, everybody.
Okay. So I leave
Good
you
morning.
now.
Thank you, brother. Yes.
Good morning.
Good
All the
morning.
best.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
So we'll play our slides.
So, dear parents, we will, Dav and I will give you more information about parenting. And we have some slides here, and we hope you write down your questions that you may have about parenting. And hopefully later on, our eldest son, Raphael, will join us as well. Okay, so we have our slides here that, okay, play.
Okay.
So we have, oh, thanks. I really appreciate the videos here. This big marker platform is a new one for me. So we are from the Love Institute. So our focus for today will be about parenting, and a little bit we'll talk also about the marriage. So we all want a happy family. So hopefully this morning we'll give you some tips on how to get there. And there are four principles that we will discuss this morning: relationships, open communication, made to order study guides, kailangan made to order, and energy for fun and study. So our acronym is HOME, so that you can easily remember this one here. Okay?
Okay, we're just looking for how to go to the next slide.
There, the next slide. All right. So what I will share with you is based on, actually, I was fortunate to do 3 parenting studies together with Dr. Quinali Chua. And see, in the Parents Best Practices study, I will be discussing some of them, but see, developing study habits is one of the 10. Okay? And we have the books, it's all documented, the book Helping Our Children Do Well in School. So to help us out for H, this healthy relationship that we had to implement with you while you were young. You know, there's several areas here where we need to spend time with you. What was it like?
Yeah, so what's important is to get to know the uniqueness of each child so that you can get that through quality time, fun activities. Okay, and what my mom did for us was she went out on dates with us, regular dates.
Our dates. We had about an hour date, and yeah, what did we do in the date?
Yeah,
And what's
so
the effect of the date on you?
Like my mom would pick me up from school, and then we go out on a 50 peso budget date. So it
Wow.
doesn't need to be.
Kaya, no?
Kaya,
50
kaya.
peso, no?
Mhm. And
Right.
then the important thing there was we were talking to each other.
We were talking to each other.
And
Right.
We talked about school. We talked about uh, what was going on with their friends and all that.
Yes. So what is important is at different ages, for some parents here who may have young children, see, that's my husband there, way back, and David is the one there on the floor. We spent 30 minutes to 2 hours per day per child. Wow. A lot of times, some parents will say, paano yung mga working? Well, you have to really manage your time either early in the morning or in the evening to be able to manage each child. And usually one child may need a little more time than the other. Sometimes one is low maintenance, the other one is high maintenance. Buti na lang, yung sa akin hindi nagsasabay. But if we schedule this, it will help. Up to the time they get to be preteens, what's this one, Dab?
So this one is a slide of me and my dad going out. We were in a butterfly farm, so that was sort of like the quality time with my dad naman.
Right. And what's the effect now that you're, di ba, older na, that we had activities with you and be able to work it out and connect with you? What's it like?
Well, I think it's the dream of many parents to still be involved in the lives of their children after when their children are adults already. And I think we've pretty much done that. We're still in touch with each other's lives, and that really helped us to get to know each other better.
Right.
Because maybe it might be, people might think that parang, oh, family, it's one connection. You have to have that regular time with each other so
Right.
that you can
you can really connect.
Yeah.
And the other three ingredients we'll be sharing with you in a little while. See, it's not just making time, because some of you might say, oh, I am making time for them, but how come we are not connecting anymore? So especially we're now in the pandemic, look for indoor activities. And there are a lot online, and you can try out these activities with each of your children to be able to help you out there.
And to connect talaga.
Yes. And remember, you have time with Papa also, because we say that love is spelled Time with each child. So that little girl there is our daughter. After David, 5.5 years after, Jika came, and that was the time I was taking my master's in family ministry at the Ateneo. That's the Ateneo grounds there. So she came and picked me up, and we spent time there in the campus, and she enjoyed, walking around there. So, and I remember with you, we had time. What was that in the field?
It can be very simple moments together. Like minsan nagdaan kami sa field nung date. So my mom picked me up from school, and then we walked to the field, football field in Ateneo, and then humiga na lang kami sa ground,
sa grass.
Sa grass. Yun yung date namin.
Yep.
I can do simple as that.
Tapos kwentuhan kami. Nagdala lang ako ng tubig ata at saka ng chips or a sandwich maybe for you at the time. So and it's one time, because you and Raf are a year and 8 months age gap. Why does it have to be one at the time? Ba't di na lang sabay-sabay? Kasi parents have little time eh.
Yeah, yung importante, one at a time, kasi baka yung isa mas madaldal sa isa. Just like me and my brother. My brother is more talkative than I am. So, kapag
nagsasabay,
parang mas may airtime yung isa kasi mas madaldal siya.
Oo.
So it's important to have one-on-one dates talaga. And I found those dates very, very sacred. So there's I really look forward to those dates.
Right.
And I remember my sister one time came to
was inside the car.
Was inside the car na.
Yeah.
Tapos nakita ko siya, sabi ko, Mom, why is Angelica here?
It was your date pala yun, no?
It was my date day.
Yeah. Okay.
So Monday si Raf, Tuesday ako.
Yes.
Thursday si Jika.
Correct.
And I asked my mom, why is Jika here?
Sinama ko siya kasi sabi ko, Dad was already, I think, 8 years old at the time. Sabi ko, siguro one time to bring Dad will be okay. But
pero hindi.
It was not okay with Dad. So, syempre, umiyak si Jika. But I said, I'll make it up with you, Jika. I know. And that's the time that I realized, gosh, even if we were doing it for 8 years, regularly, every Tuesday was my date day with David. And he really was looking forward to that special time. So even if you can't do it weekly, even if you do that twice a month, but that is only up to what age?
Until 12.
Up to 12 lang po. Okay. After 12?
12, 13 na ako, sabi ko, Mom, every other month na tayo.
Okay, every other month na lang. Okay, so that's the time with each child, but we need also with our spouse. There, that's my sweetie pie, Alan. And, the chat at home is helpful, but we also have every Wednesday our couple date as husband and wife. See, we're both very busy. My husband is a doctor, and I was already starting at the time when we had kids, my new career in family ministry, but also on a 50 peso date, kami ni Papa din. It's after dinner, or sometimes we just walk around the subdivision. The first round, kami dalawa lang. The second round, you wanted to go with us when you were young. So that's all right. But see, the communication of husband and wife has to go on. We have to continue being friends. Kasi what's the effect pag nag-aaway ang papa at mama?
Yeah, it's talagang nakakabahala.
Nakakapag-aral pa ba?
No, not really.
Diba? Mahirap mag-aral pag nag-aaway. So the friendship between husband and wife and our continuous education on how to be really a happy person, a happy husband and wife, we also attended courses on that at CEFAM, and we had our Discovery Weekend group. So parents, we need to continually get ourselves informed on how to have a great marriage, because it will not happen um, on its own. So study on great marriage, and we have to study on parenting also, because being a parent, a happy parent, or having happy kids is not automatic as well. And you will hear some of our stories here later on. So home, this acronym of home, or the home, really will help towards the positive relationship with each of our children. So disciplining will become easier. They can cooperate more if we are able to connect. So that's Jika now. She's in her mid-20s. So it is easier to connect with them if we do our job to connect with them in the first 12 years of each child. All right. So H is healthy relationship, making time. Madali pa yan. Naku, David. David will share with us itong next one, the open communication. What's this open communication? What are the two components of this communication?
So the two components are listening well and speaking well, and letting your child feel safe to tell you anything.
This is one of the challenges for us, because we are not natural listeners or natural speakers. So, but we have to do that so that our children will tell us anything at any age, whether it's good news or bad news. And we have a sample here. So we will give you first the formula on how to listen. Okay. So listening.
It's saying in 10 words what the person says in 100 words. Walang dagdag, walang bawas.
O mga nanay, tatay, mahilig magdagdag at bawas. Alright? So, here now with our sample. So
here's a sample. What if your 8-year-old son says, Mom, Pop, I want to study after dinner. I don't want to study together with my siblings. I'm not ready. I want to play first.
Parang storya yan ni Rafael nun. Ayaw niya mag-aral.
So this is a homeschooling scenario.
Okay, the homeschooling. Okay. Kung anak niyo katulad ni David, mahilig mag-aral. Oh, tell me if this is a good or bad paraphrase.
Is this a good or bad paraphrase? Number 1, ang bastos nito. You should be grateful that you can still study. 2, anak, magpa-deliver tayo sa Jollibee kung mag-aaral ka ngayon.
Okay. Good ba yan? Parehong bad eh.
Good
diba?
or bad paraphrase? Bad paraphrase.
Lalo na yung pangalawa, parang it is bribing. No, parents don't realize that we can be bribing our children at a young age. And then the number 3, Dav.
Imbis na dumaing, mag-aaral ka na lang. Study now.
Okay, study now. So we want them, we don't want to give them any of these lines, because if we give them these lines, what will the child?
The child will feel judged, and the child will feel like he or she won't want to talk. He or she will feel like mom and papa are not listening.
Okay, parang they don't care, no?
Parang they don't care.
Okay, so it's hurtful. So this is now the accurate paraphrase.
Okay, accurate paraphrase is, you don't feel like studying right now and you prefer to study after dinner, after you play? Is that what you're saying? So it's a reflection. It's a reflection of what the child. Walang dagdag, walang bawas. It's just mirroring what the child has said to you.
Pero the parent might say, ano? Susundan mo yung anak?
I agree. You're just reflecting.
You did not agree yet. We will mention our stance as a parent. First part.
Just listen to that.
Okay. And if we listen, this is what your son or daughter will say.
Wow, I feel so understood. Ang sarap ko sa ni mama and papa. I want to tell them more.
Okay. And you want to tell us more at any age, diba? There's always something to talk about.
And the good thing about this is if you keep using these, as paraphrase, they'll want to talk to you more. And even till today, it's still great to talk to mom and pop, because I know they will listen, and I know that they know how to listen.
Okay. So, hanggang 30 plus, umaabot yan. The returns on investment, very high. So, parents, nako, practice this formula of listening. Now we'll go to the speaker formula. Okay?
Okay, again, we'll repeat the scenario. 8-year-old son says, I want to study after dinner. I don't want to study together with my siblings. I'm not ready. I want to play first.
So our negative way of listening will sound something like this.
You message is, ginawa ko di maglaro. Kailangan mo mag-aral. Ang dami-daming hindi makapag-aral ng ganito. Hala, mag-aral ka.
Okay, so that one, pag narinig ng bata, di ba? Ano ba yan? Ano sinabi ng nanay ko? Hindi, parang hindi tugma. But, and you use a lot of you, and that's why here is the English version.
So this is a you message. It's very judging, very you, all centric, you. So here's a sample in English where you can see the you used in the message. What the F? You are so lazy. All you do is play. You have to study. Be grateful you can still study. So many people out there cannot. You just study now.
See, parents, without knowing, we can be using a lot of the you word when we put down and that ng kumisan dahil will distant that they are not respected. So we have a formula here that will really help the parent to express. The parents can talk. We can express anything. But we have to say it in a way that is non-judgmental, that is also respectful. Even if they are 2 years old, 10 years old, or 20 years old, we need to use this iMessage if we want our children to continually be around us and connect with us. So the formula that
iMessage is I feel. So you have to start 4 major feelings. There are 4 the 4 feelings that you can mention are mad, sad, glad. And so those feelings there can be combinations of that, like confusion could be afraid and worry. Worry pala can be sad and afraid.
right.
Alright, so there can be a combination of those feelings. Next, I feel blank when blank. You describe the circumstances because blank. Explain what is behind the feeling, and I wish suggest that blank. So you request for behavior change.
Okay, and they say, ang haba naman yan, mahaba nga, pero mas makikinig ang anak if we use this formula. You look at with the same case, we will now use the iMessage, and it will read like this.
I feel worried when you don't study right away because I might not be able to help you later when I'm busy with something else. Maybe you can play a little bit for 30 minutes now, and then you can study for 45 minutes after that. Is that okay?
All right. So here, the parent can express their worry, I'm sad, or I'm even angry, and then the circumstances you have to explain, and then what might happen, then you can negotiate, make a request, offer them something, rather than get angry, and sometimes we are, we label them, we give them negative labels, or to say, ay nako, wala nang mangyayari sa'yo. Ang tawag dito, marami sasabihin pa na, paano yung kinabukasan mo, masisira na lang dyan, puro laro ka na lang. So that is very negative, and parang we are predicting, we're prophesying what will happen, which is not necessarily correct. But if we know how to talk using the iMessage, then it will really help us. And this formula of paraphrase and iMessage can also be used with
work. It can be used in work.
Yeah.
It can be used with your partner.
With your siblings. Do you use that also?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. So that there is less conflict. There is, di ba, sabi nila doon, may communication gap. May communication gap, hindi dahil sa edad. It's not because of the age. It is because of the manner of speaking. So we are in the information age. You just have to take a picture of this formula, it is the same technique that we can use with our spouse as well. So here now, sa Tagalog, pwede rin.
Ito, sa Tagalog, nag-aalala ako kapag hindi ka nag-aaral agad kasi baka wala akong oras na tulungan ka mamaya at para tulungan ka mamaya at baka busy ako mamaya. Baka naman pwedeng maglaro ka muna for 30 minutes tapos mag-aaral ka for 45 minutes pagkatapos. Okay?
Alright. At ginamit ko to kay Rafael noon na ayaw mag-aral. So, sabi ko nga, 10 minutes aral, 20 minutes laro. Mas maraming laro, yun yung kaya niya. Kaya kailangan kilala natin yung ating anak. Doon sa age kanina, healthy relationship, you make time for them so that you know what will work. Si David, yung bata yan, pagka-uwi galing sa school, anong gagawin ka agad ni David?
Ako mag-aaral ako kaagad.
Aral ka agad. At ano yung area naman that we had to work with you?
Hindi naman, I was making friends.
Making friends. So I said, Dab, sige, nag-aalala naman ako, aral ka ng aral. Baka gusto mo makipaglaro kay Paco or kay Ian. At kasi si David naman, kailangan naman niyang matutunan makipagkaibigan. Okay? And even this, we had to help. Because there are some parents who tell me, Maribel, puro aral naman yung anak ko. Paano naman yun? Wala siyang kaibigan. And that's why we have to know what is the strength of each child and the weakness of each child and be able to help balance. So yung aking panganay, gusto maglaro, ayaw mag-aral. Ito naman pangalawa ko, aral ng aral. Yung laro, halos wala. Puro aral at TV ang gusto niya. So we need to know how to talk to them properly so that we get their cooperation. Naku, lalo na pag teenager. Di ba? Yung naging teenager ka, Dav, yung nagka-problema tayo na maganda naman yung problema kasi ang gusto ni Dav,
gusto ko lagi na sa org nun, or extracurricular activities. May org ako nun na long hours, like 4 to 7 p.m. every day.
Sa theater, sa dula ang sibol ng Ateneo. Naku, nahilig si David dun. Kaya tuloy, naapektuhan ang
grades. Hindi mo na grades, pero yung...
Actually, hindi na yung grades. Kasi...
Yung naapektuhan yung...
tardiness.
Tardiness. So maraming best narita ko for school.
Nalilate siya sa school, hindi pala niya alam yung patakaran ng school. Ang pwede lang, 9 tardy per school year. Diba? So kami ni Alan, ng asawa ko, nag-research kami, nagtanong kami sa eskwelahan, ilan bang tardy? Alam mo bakit tardy si David? Kala nyo natutulog?
I was working on projects or my homework.
Oo.
And I really wanted to do well in those projects.
Nabawasan yung oras niya sa aral, gusto niya magandang grade pa rin. So, pinag-usapan namin yan. So, itong communication namin, napaka-importante. Sa communication namin, si Dab, nakagraduate pa rin ng high school na may honors. At naka-involve siya doon sa kanyang org. Pero may inayo siya, may binawas siya ng konti. Kasi nga, para noon, makuha niya yung pareho. So, pwede naman, pero nako, ilang meeting tayo doon, ilang dinner yun, no? Ilang labas din yun, kasi dahan-dahan. So, Dab, di ba? Yung effect ng you message or the I message,
So, you message, parang judging the other person. The person feels
judged, di ba? Parang nahuhusga.
Okay. So, I message naman. Actually, with the I message, medyo foolproof siya kasi you're just stating how you feel. Hindi niya, the person that you're talking to cannot say na parang, you can't feel that way. No, that's how you feel.
Yes.
So it's just, it's you're simply stating how you feel, and it's more effective that way. That the person will receive it better.
All right. So, that's a case that we had a while ago, and I'm sure parents will have this case study, and baka the parents will say, gusto ko mag-aral sila sabay-sabay. Ito na nga, kaya yung letter M, napaka-importante sa atin. Made to order. Parang tailor-made, no? Made to order study guides. So, kailangan pag-usapan ngayon guides with each of the children so that about their learning style, the schedule, the study area, and the goals. No, what kind of grades do they want, or what learnings do they want, even in the non-academic area. And ikaw, David, saan ka nag-aaral noon?
Ako minsan sa sahig.
Sa sahig.
Sa sahig.
Napansin ba namin yun? Ano?
Yeah, I think so.
Pero naka-aral ka ng sahig.
Nakaaral
Up to
na.
what age, di ba?
Yeah, pero it's more effective, and you'll see this if you get the book Helping Our Children Do Well in School by Mom and Dr. Pina Dichua, you will see that a table makes a big difference talaga. So table and chair.
Okay. So baka kung wala pa silang table and chair, or baka they have several options of table and chair at home, lalo na ngayon dahil home-based ang learning, let them be involved in the choice of the chair and make sure the books are there. Ay nako, parents will have to get a laptop dahil yun nga, online, no? And the lighting is very important. Ikaw, palagay mo, sa mag-aaral si Rafael, anong pipili niya kung
Sa labas.
sa labas, sa garahe?
Because kinesthetic si Raf. So
Oo.
kinesthetic Raf. So you have to take a look at their styles of learning also. Are they visual? Are they tactile? Are they
Auditory,
kinesthetic?
yeah.
Auditory?
Okay. So doon sa aming libro or online of learning of each of your children, and what is the area of intelligence? Saan ba sila magaling? Napaka-importante na alam natin yan. Then we have some guidelines and house rules. Siyempre, yung washing of hands nandyan, di ba? But with regards to the safety and then the schooling, we need to have certain guidelines that we have to talk about with our children or our teens. You can post this somewhere in your house. And so, what if they don't follow the guidelines? Like, ikaw, mahilig ka dun sa matids, pero sobra nga yung panood ng TV. So, were you ever spanked? Or no? We don't spank, but we use consequences. And we want to, another example, so when you watched a lot,
So when I watched that, the consequence would be, kasi kailangan logical, kailangan connected yung consequence. The consequence would be, baka I get lower grades in school, or ano nga ba yung mga ibang?
Yeah, get lower grades, or hindi mo magawa yung homework, nalilate,
or wake up late,
or you become sleepy.
sleepy.
So hindi ka pwedeng, di ba, parang you cannot be attentive. So they will experience the consequence of their action. Baka hindi pa nila naintindihan yung consequence, di ba yung sa ating ilaw, di ba?
Yeah, sa ilaw, sa Meralco. Does Meralco come and spank you and shout at you if you don't pay your bill? No, they just cut your electricity.
Oh,
So that's the logical consequence of not paying your bill, right?
Yun ang consequence. Naku, issue na ng marami ngayon.
So
Bill pataas.
one of the main consequences that I got was before I left my PE uniform in grade school. I was grade 4, intrams day nun. I forgot my PE uniform, and I called the house. Mom,
Ilang beses mo na nakalimutan yung PE uniform? Mga 100 times.
Lagi ko nakakalimutan yung mga iba. Hindi pa PE uniform nun. Lagi ko nakakalimutan yung mga project ko, mga
yung libro, yung
mga notebook na kailangan ko dalhin sa school.
Okay.
Tapos, one day, grade 4 ako, I left my PE uniform at home, intramurals day. And I called the house. I said, Mom, can you bring my PE uniform to school? My mom said, no, hindi pwede.
Okay.
Because before then, we talked about it na, before that day, we talked about how they couldn't bring my stuff to school anymore because I needed to be responsible for my own things. Mom and Pop talked to me. Tapos they gave me a checklist. They gave me mga iba-ibang ways of remembering to bring my things.
So we guide them, we teach them, that's part of our role. But sometimes, hindi pa rin nila nakukuha. Hindi nila gets. So consequence is helpful. So when you forgot the PE uniform, and I did not bring it anymore kasi, ano na siya, grade 3 na, or grade 4. Eh naku, paano matututo? So, sabi ko, sorry Dab, hindi ko dadalhin dyan. So, ang ginawa ni Dab ay...
So, I had to face the consequences, and I had to, so lahat kaming walang PE uniform nakapila dun sa may grade level.
Parang sa principal office, no? Napa-principal ka tuloy. Kasama mo yung mga...
Bad boys ng batch
namin. Ikaw yung good boy kasi, no?
Good boy ako. Para yung
Ikaw
mga,
naman. So, pero at least hindi ka sanay na pumipila doon.
Yeah.
Di ba? And ano epekto sa'yo na nakapila ka doon?
So I didn't like the feeling of being called to the grade level coordinator's office. I didn't like the feeling of being there. I hated it. So, and that was the logical consequence there. So it was still related to, it was a consequence of my actions. And so after that day, Friday kasi yun, Monday pa lang, dinala ko na yung PE uniform ko. Dinagay ko sa locker ko. Pagdating ng Friday, may PE uniform na ako.
Diba? Nakakaisip silang paraan. Hindi lang yung consequence of falling in line. Nakakuha ka pa ng demerit,
yes,
siyempre.
Tama, nakakuha ng
diba?
minus points
So,
sa department.
Ang school, kailangan meron silang consequences din. Huwag nang pagalitan, huwag nang sermonan. May consequences lang pag merong hindi nagagawa. Kasi the consequence is a good teacher. Okay? Hindi na kailangan ng mga matataas na boses. So, ganun din. Sa bahay, kunyari, iniwan yung gamit or yung laptop hindi inayos. So, may consequence yan. Huwag na tayong sumigaw. Huwag na tayong magalit. Meron ako yung isa nga, nasira yung, kunyari, yung cellphone, o di silang gagastos. So, kailangan may schedule din ang bawat bata, anong oras siya mag-aaral. And you sit down with each child on how to work on this one, the schedule. That's very important. Okay? So, before we it's thing like family, which basically will summarize, show them the lyrics also here. What's this? How forward. And so we will Dav will be singing the song, and you can sing with him. The lyrics are here. He composed this in 2016, and he usually sings this when he will give the talk.
So I'm into singing and songwriting also. Talk song talaga. So here it is. O-F-A-M-I-L-Y family. Without them, life would be a calamity. Basic unit of our society. Cheesy, but it's true. There ain't nothing like coming home on a weekday night, tired from the world of work and deadlines of trying to make the headlines. We can all put that stuff down, 'cause now I've got my family around. O-F-A-M-I-L-Y family. Without life would be a calamity. Basic unit of our society. Cheesy, but it's true. There ain't nothing like having dinner on a Thursday night. All gathered around the table are people who totally able to understand you bottom to top. That's why I love my family a lot. O-F-A-M-I-L-Y family. Without them, life would be a calamity. Basic unit of our society. Cheesy, but it's true. And when I've got my hurts and worries, I can always go and tell these stories to people who understand. My family accept me unconditionally for who I am. O-F-A-M-I-L-Y family. Without life would be a calamity. Basic unit of our society. Cheesy, but it's true. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so if you will just emphasize the song there, di ba? They
So-
want to go home to a family that they can, di ba?
Yeah,
Gather around the table.
so that people they know that their family will listen. They know their family, so they look forward to spending time with their family. This is actually based on real days. I remember coming home and then being thankful to be with my family for dinner. So yeah, that's based on actual things that have happened in the past.
Okay, and the net effect of that up to now is what?
Well, I still like telling stories to my parents. So
All right. So let's check if Rafael is there. Be able to. Are there any questions so far? We have one more point here, so that we can summarize so far for them while we're connecting with getting Raf into the platform.
so healthy relationships that spend quality time, quantity time with your kids. We recommend for you to go out on a once a week date with each of your children. Well, we can't really go out right now, but to have one-on-one time with each child, get their favorite food and then eat with them for a while, like maybe like for an hour. Yeah, so that's healthy relationships. Open communication. iMessage. Use the iMessage. Listen well and speak well to your kids so that they want to tell you more stories. I made to order study guides. Be know the learning style of your kid, they're kinesthetic or what. And we have Raf. I think Raf's coming online also.
Yeah. Si Kuya Raf ni David. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Raf.
Hi guys. Hi everyone. It's pretty cool.
Okay, I will. So, huh? Right. So I will just mention about Raf here, and then we will be able to see understand. There was a brief background about him, but this is connected to our talk here. So I have the slide now there. So Raf finished management from Ateneo. And so he's a social entrepreneur and focus on farmers, reforestation, yung mga tinanim nila doon, no? This is in Zambales. His dreams of ending values-led and science-based entrepreneurship. So, and yep, he's been a TED speaker, and he runs a social tourism venture called Make a Difference Travel, where they incorporate social causes into leisure travels. And he has the Circle Hostel in Baler, La Union. He had the plastic solution, but he'll tell you more about that now. Siyempre, ang travel, problema na ngayon yan, no? And he has garnered several citations, award-giving body in Japan for tourism service, the Villar CPAG Awards, and he's been featured on TV, the newspaper, and look at that. He was cited as one of Manila Bulletin's everyday heroes. And he's currently, working with the Aitas and Dumagats in Luzon, engaging them as business partners and helping them grow 3,000 hectares of agro forests and building sustainable businesses for their families. So why are we mentioning this? Remember a while ago in our talk, we were mentioning ni David, si Rafael, puro mas gusto mag-aral kaysa maglaro. So Raf, you can unmute yourself so we can interact. And this is the fourth ingredient to strengthening family relationships. We said that the first one is the healthy relationship. And then O, open communication. M is the made to order study guides. And here now is the energy that the parents need to give their children, each of their children, for fun and study. And appreciate each child, catch them doing good. So, Raf,
Mm-mm.
what was it like, you know, uh, when you were young then, di ba? How, from the child na puro gusto aral, how did you get all of this? What were the things maybe we did that can help also other parents, inspire them?
Mm, well, when we started, I remember I just like to play a lot. So ayoko talaga mag-aral. And um, it was very hard to study also because I didn't have a good set of habits to study. Like I couldn't sit down for very long. Um, I just like
Kasi
to play.
intelligent mo talaga, Raf, kinesthetic, di ba? You didn't like sitting down in a chair for a long time.
Mm-mm. So makulit lang talaga. But I had a lot of friends, so I would play with friends every day. So mom had the idea of creating study groups as early as siguro mga 8, 9 years old,
Right,
so that
right.
we could so that I could learn from them. Kasi my grades were very low already. Grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4 talagang mababa na yung grades. Malapit na ako
Yeah.
bumagsak that time.
But the other one also, di ba, nag-aaway kayo lagi ni Dav. You were bullying Dav because Dav naman had very high grades. And parang how did we help you in terms of, di ba, reducing the bullying and eventually you got very high grades as well. You graduated also honors in high school and college.
Mm-mm. Well, ano kasi, parang Dav had a lot of natural talents. Early on, may recital na, and he also, the grades are very, very high. No? Tsaka, ayun, I think more discipline, no? At the get-go. So, it took a while before I built study habits. And, ano din, also to kind of find what I was interested in. Because I remember before, in the process of growing up, I really didn't do anything apart from watch TV and play with friends when we were younger. No, but
You did not like TV so much. Raf.
ha?
You did not like TV so much. You just wanted to play with your friends,
No,
basketball.
I used to play. I used to watch
So
a lot of
parents
TV. Sobra.
Oh, you did. Okay. Yeah. So, di ba, if parents now, especially their children are home based and they have a son or daughter like you, what would you suggest they do?
Well, I think it's good to kind of find out what your child is good at. Because mom and pop spent a lot of time trying to find out what I was good at, and when they finally found it, I did not. So they had to kind of lead me to it um, in that way, no. So
Yeah.
it's not very different from what a boss does in a company. Na ikaw yung boss, you see the potential in your employee, and you kind of lead your employee to that skill or thing that they're supposed to do that they can be good at. So you set them up for success, and mom and pop set me up for success. I guess it's just harder pag anak mo kasi you can't force all these things. No, you have to find the right avenue for it to happen. And I think the avenue that mom and pop found, no,
Yeah.
one was by accident, yung always coming with mom to the talks, right? And I was a horrible
What
public
happened?
speaker when I was younger. I was always scared. But the talks gave me a lot of practice, no, and made me comfortable with it. But the other one was they found that I really enjoyed camping, and I didn't like there was I did a lot of pushback at first, ayoko, and then they just said you really have to go, and Dav, it's a good thing Dav liked it already, so may kasama ako to enjoy the whole camping experience, which now
Yeah.
is a big part of what I do.
Your work is a lot about camping. One
It's a
of the
lot about
things.
about teaching kids about the environment, about sustainable development goals, and you can really trace
Right.
the roots back to camping at an early age.
Right. but the building of your confidence, that energy we gave you to was first, looking, identifying your niche. We knew you were very good in sports and basketball, but you didn't like to develop it yet early on. What we discovered was your public speaking skills when you were sharing with us in our parenting talks. And I guess the parents have to be alert that the talent they think of their children, you cannot force it. Because if we force you to enroll in those, basketball clinics, what would have happened, Raf?
Well, if I didn't like it, I probably would not be good at it.
Yeah,
Parang I started to like it na lang after I watched mga school basketball games eh. And I went with
right.
friends and it's like, oh, okay to ah. Then I started to want to play more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there it kind of just spiraled. Also, a lot of all my guy friends were playing basketball na rin. So,
But that was already about third year high school na.
high school
And we
na.
were,
Oo.
encouraging you in grade school to get into basketball because you felt Dav had the talent in playing the piano, and we were helping you figure out what was your talent. And we discovered maybe you were about 8 or 9 years old as a public speaker. You were, oh no, it will, no, that will come back no. Uh, you were a public speaker. I don't know if you'll be able to show the picture again here. Oh, there. Okay, so you were young and you were to build your confidence. Yeah, you were talking now with Tita Lisi. So Lisi Ann Puno is a psychologist. She was with us. She said, let's try Raf. And yan, just holding already a microphone. Maybe you were what, 7 here or 8?
Maybe.
And this one in Stefan, you were already, wow, you're huge here, no?
Yeah.
And, di ba? And I was surprised. You were okay to give a talk whether we had 100 parents or 200 parents. And it seemed like you were a natural speaker already then. Ayan. And oops. And today, there, you're really a speaker in schools or in other places. And what are the other talks that you give now, Raf?
Now I give
Raf,
talks.
what are the other
I
talks
give
that
a
you
lot
give
of
now?
talks about plastic waste management, about working with about building values and working with community, about and then about strategic business. No? So
Right.
I've been tapped as a consultant several times for different businesses.
Well, it is correct. Parang your confidence, that energy we were giving you, you were more confident already about late high school. And of course, college was there. And, because it's amazing. The travel industry you've been prior to the pandemic was doing so well, and the pandemic really just shut it down. So, how's it like in terms of your confidence and being able to do something there?
Well, one of the things siguro that I learned along the way after grade 4 was like really studying hard to get better performance. So the first time I studied hard, mom and pop, especially si Papa, had to help a lot. No, but it changed. My grades changed dramatically from like a 75 to 92 the next quarter because I studied hard. No, and then the next quarter bumagsak ulit to 75. But it was very clear. No, so in grade 5 I started working a little bit harder, and then a little harder in grade 6, and then grade 7, until the habit grew. And siguro, I mean, I didn't study a lot back then, maybe just like 30 minutes a day on my own or something.
What
But
inspired you to study harder, Raf? Because
ha,
parents want that answer. What inspired you to study harder?
well, una, parang pop taught me how. Kasi when you tell your child study hard, it doesn't mean the child knows how to study. You just assume the
Yeah,
child
yeah.
knows how to study. Study, read.
Right.
So reading is not studying. Studying is more than just reading it, right? So
Okay.
I didn't know how. Papa was teaching
Right.
me how to do it. And then ano rin, I think with the summer camp, I was given a chance to become a group leader very early, like at 11 years old.
Yeah.
No? So I was planning the food of our team. It gave you some responsibility. And the coach there, really trusted me with the responsibility. So I wanted to ano rin. So uh, when I got back to school, no, parang I felt more responsible, but the responsibility started elsewhere, no. And then mom and pop continued to do the goal setting on grades, and syempre, Dav's grades were spectacular, so I have to catch up also. No. But eventually,
Yeah.
it just got better, and I found a set of friends in school that were also, more studious. I was never the guy with the highest grades in my barkada. Not until I got to high school, where I didn't like the feeling anymore of not doing well.
Yeah.
Because you know what it's like to do well, and to be kind of like
Did we say
rewarded for it.
anything negative about your not doing well? I mean, what did we tell you about that?
Well,
Did we compare you to Bob or what?
you guys were just asking me, is this your best? And I would say no. Then you'd kind of ask, is this what you want? And I'd be like, no. Then ayun, no? So I have to try to do something about it. But there's a lot of help along the way.
So
Then
parents
eventually,
we're asking the questions. Is this like what you like? Are you happy with your grades? Are you happy with your work?
yeah,
That
it's a lot of
helps you become
questions. Mm. Parang
okay.
I kind of get the feeling that it's better for parents to ask kids questions than to tell them what to do. Kasi when the child feels na, oops, I answered the question, huli ako. Children naman are smart eh. So they, they won't, they're less likely to go back on their word versus parents say something else. Kasi they'll feel it's wrong. But
That's true.
ayun, I think a big thing talaga was was getting that feeling of doing well in something else. And I guess parents can just focus on what kids do well and then kind of grow that ripple of success into other areas. Right? So it goes back to, you really have to find the talent or skill of the child and then lead them to it.
This one.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So after the pandemic, what did you do now with your mad travel?
Well, we don't have any travel, no? So for Mad Travel and even the hostel, we started selling food, doing online delivery service, and we work with some of the farmers.
I'm
So
amazed how you did it. Kasi kaibigan mo yung mga farmers, so you tried selling their food. So you now have the mad market.
yep, and then it's then for Circle, it's Eats at the Circle. So yeah, you just have to. I'm using the ability to make friends, which I had at the younger age, now to my advantage, because I can I can get people to work with me in different ways now.
Right. Okay. So that really is amazing, no? Your resiliency. Rather than, di ba? There's so many people stressed out here now, losing their jobs, losing their business. And what helped you bounce back, and look for something to do?
Well, I think internally, parang since I've been exposed to failure several times at an early age. I remember grade school was the first. And then in high school, my first year of high school wasn't very good either, and then just went up. But I knew what to do. The recipe of success kasi was laid out before me, and you guys walked me through it. So if I work hard, it'll get better. I just don't know how good. So I just kept moving from there, and I found more interesting things. No? That and a supportive family, and then the right set of friends to work with. No? And then eventually, when I got to college, it still happened. No? My grades went down again because every level gets harder, right? So you either have to work more hours or you have to work in a smarter way. And so that from grade school to college kind of started the I just kept adding more hours to the day I'd study. By the time I remember in grade seven, maybe I'd study an hour a day. By the time I finished high school, I was studying about 3-4 hours a day. And by the time I finished college, it was already up to 8 or 9 hours a day. Um, yeah,
So what
and
happened
then
to you in your sports? Reduce na.
balanced it lang. I mean, you just keep
Huh?
you balance it lang kasi ano, I can't go on straight for long. It's very inefficient. So I always take like physical breaks, like workout breaks. I go to the
Yeah.
gym, then I'll come back to study, or I'll play basketball, come back to study. There's an optimum amount of exercise naman that will allow your brain to function. And
Yeah,
even
because
at work, what,
yeah.
mom? Sorry.
No, because some parents, if the grades are low, they will say, okay, no gym, no basketball, just sit down there. If we did that to
Can,
you, what would have happened to you?
cannot. It won't work. Parang we don't grow in isolation of everything. Your mind will only be as healthy as your body allows it. So you have to allow them a balance of certain things. No? Um, parang I think it's important for parents today to understand that the education system we had, that everyone went through, is very copy paste from the US, and it's also it does not take into consideration how holistic and connected things are. So there's really a lacking sort of education here, even the best schools here. No? So there's a lot of new information about making sure kids are more balanced. And a lot of the real education kids get is actually not in school. It's out. It's in the real world. No? So you might as well teach them the fundamentals of research, writing, reading,
Right.
which you're supposed to learn in school, and so you're socializing. But afterwards, they'll have to be able to apply that outside. No? Of course, mathematics important, then basic addition, subtraction, multiplication. Yeah, kasi every level gets harder. I was gonna say, when I got to work level, whatever success I enjoyed in college, I did not enjoy in work, even if I worked that hard. No, and I was very challenged to rethink the way I did things. And parang there's a mindset there that, diba? There's a mindset there. School's supposed to prepare you for your career, so dinadahan-dahan, no. So
Right.
it's always a process. It's not a drop everything and do this kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Maybe for you and that, thank you, Raf. What are your, diba, to be able to help the parents out there? I'm really so happy about the two of you. But that was really work of art of Papa and I to mold each one of you to be able to be happy and to be what you call this, excel in your area of expertise and passion. And what are maybe some one or two things you want to just drive home there to the parents first? Then we'll, yeah.
Well, for me, siguro it's really lead them, and you have to put in work if you want your child to be, you have to put in work and find out what he or she likes, dislikes, and yung kilite. Finding their strengths at an early age is very useful. I mean, um, that's how and then when they find their strength, encourage it. They'll
Okay.
do much
You
better
encourage,
by
yeah,
with you encouraging their strength than you correcting their weakness.
right, right. Okay. And then you, Dab, uh,
Yeah. Go out on once a week date with each of your kids because get to know them talaga. Get to know your kids on that one-on-one basis, on a one-on-one setup. Para you get to know them, they get to know you, and they'll be more comfortable with talking to you, and vice versa. So go out and date with your kids.
all right. And, you know, I'm just so happy. I mentioned to you a while ago that we learned. Alan and I attended the 4 Friday evenings of 3 hours each when Rafael was 2 years old. So it's a good thing.
The parenting.
The parenting seminar that we attended to Salesian Puno, who gave it, a psychologist, and we were just so happy that we attended. And today, and for the past 20 years, I've been doing the same, giving talks on parenting. And recently, we just set up the School for Parents, 8 weeks of schooling. So you will receive 8 videos, and there are 8 coaching sessions. And we just finished batch 1. The pandemic offered us the opportunity to really go online together with this in partnership with the New Bold University. So I thank Don Bosco for giving us this opportunity, because really parenting is so much fun, and our team in the Love Institute can really help the parents learn more about parenting, because we don't learn this in school. We cannot do trial and error. It's going to be so costly to our children and our relationship. So we have to really make time, and I think Don Bosco will be helping many parents to be able to bring this to all of you. So with that, thank you so much, and good morning, dear parents. So this is Maribel, David, and Rafael from the Love Institute. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Stay there first, Rafa. I think there's a Q&A. There's a question and answer.
Oh, there is? Okay.
Yes, yes. Reggie is coming. There's Miss Reggie. She's coming in.
Hi, thank you, Miss Maribel, Dav, and Raf. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yep.
Hi. Good. It was a thank you very much, no, for your sharing, and I'm sure a lot of kids envy Dav and Raf, no, because you have parents who are really supportive and very lucky, no, Maribel, that you were able to attend these courses and be able to apply this to your kids and see the good results, no, and now we are sharing this to our viewers here on Facebook Live, and most of them are parents from our client partner school. So thank you very much. No? So with your sharing.
Right.
Yes, we'll try to bring in some questions. So for our audience for today, you can type in your questions in the comment section, and we'll try to through the questions that you have passed. So while we're waiting for the questions, I have here some notes, no, that we could start with.
Right.
What strike me most is that you said that there has to be open communication, and I noticed not just communication, you have to have patience, because after you've something or gave an instruction to your children, it doesn't end there. It doesn't automatically happen that they will follow. So there has to be patience and also fortitude. Can you expound on this, on how to really, foster patience on giving instructions, giving lessons to your kids, and not expecting that they get
You don't get immediate results.
be able to do it the first time you talk to them
Right.
about this.
Yes. So like for instance, that one nga with Rafael, it was helping him how to study, and with David, it was how to help him like remember things, to bring things first, no? So you have to mention it first. Well, you have to be encouraging and give them that energy, precisely emphasize on their good points, but help them how to work on the areas that needs improvement. And it's correct. You need fortitude, but it is a goal that we set together with them, or ask them, are you, like what Raf mentioned, we ask them, are you happy with your grades? So what kind of grades do you like to have? Are you happy that things are forgotten? You got the demerit? So it is asking them how they feel about certain activities or events that will make them think, oh yeah, I want something different. So that is still listening and really giving them a chance to really connect with us by asking them questions rather than telling them what to do. So this one requires talaga training from the parents because we have so many things to do. It is easier to just tell them off, but it does not long term.
Yeah,
Dab,
thank you.
Dab wants to add anything there? You have
Uh,
to- yeah.
and,
Okay. Okay. Yes, Reggie.
Okay.
I think well, also, I think patience.
Thank you. Yeah. So again, also we have to. Go ahead.
Yeah, patience develops over time. So you know in the next time that your patience is tested, try to remember, okay, this it's time to be patient. And then because of that, because of this moment that your patience is tested, your patience grows. So choose. So in the times that you can realize that you can be patient. And then and it grows in time.
Especially the first 12 years of each child, the parents have to take a look at their priorities. This is the formative stage. I know parents are also working, and that's why the number of children and the age gap will be a factor here. We have to really plan the arrival of each child. But if they are all there already now, we have to take a look. How can we best have energy also for us parents? We have to take care of ourselves so that we can attend to our children and have the patience that you said that we did. So we need the timeout. So I asked also for a timeout. We had a sofa at home. I told them, if I'm sitting there, it means I am resting. I need 10 minutes or 15 minutes rest. Then I will go meet up with you. So we have to take care of ourselves also. The information parenting was really very helpful because I knew what to do. Uh, but it needed really patience, getting to know how to use the principle with Raf differently from Dav.
So that's true. No? So the timeout is not the kids; it's really also for the parents, so to be able to gather themselves and be able to be more coherent when you talk again to your children about this thing. So yes, I would like to remind our viewers to just posting your questions or even your offering of your own experiences. Just post it here so we can talk about this online. Just a question for Dav and Raf. Um, as we all see, okay, as you have mentioned earlier, you two have very different personalities, and I'm sure all your other siblings would also have a different personality than that of yours. So, how do you think were your parents be able to avoid, no, to bring that sibling rivalry and sorry. Yeah, so how your parents were able to make it that way that you don't feel that you're compared or and the sibling rivalry does not happen in the family.
Oh, it happened.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, no, it's I think it was until grade for me at least I felt it was grade 6 that we stopped fighting a lot. So we used to fight a lot talaga. Like
Oh,
we share the same room and then it'd be like close the light, no, open the light. May parang yung when we're about to sleep and I say close the light, no, open the light. There are those kinds of arguments. And I think it was until grade 6 for me where my brother stopped fighting me. I got my own room, so I think that was a big step. I got my own room because we used to share a room, and then when I got my own room, I um, I think that the fighting significantly stopped.
oh,
So
who knows
Raf,
them?
Raf,
Raf?
who were you fighting? Huh? Raf was the one fighting Dav.
Yep,
Hello?
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Voice. Can you hear me? How about Raf?
Yeah, I agree with that. It really stopped grade 6, and that's around the time that I was able to parang ano, I got exposed to other people. Kasi for the longest time, parang my world revolved around the family and like the sending me to camp and like exposing me to people on how to be more responsible for others and stuff. That really kind of changed the way things would work. No? Yeah. So mom and dad were able to. Buti nga they forced me to go there.
Well, Reggie, it took us up to about
Yes.
grade 6, from about grade 2, when Rafael's self-worth was really at its lowest, or it became more, what you call that, noticeable, that it took us about 4 or 5 years to build the self-worth of Rafael. And usually a child with low self-worth, having a very intelligent brother, aawayin niya talaga. Kasi parang as if to tell them, don't make your grades too high so that I will not look bad. Diba? So the rivalries, because we were not comparing, we were very conscious of that. But Rafael on his own could see that Dab was doing so well. Sometimes mga Raf will say, the teachers of Dab, madali lang mga teachers niyan, kaya mataas yung grades niya. So there was a lot of put down of Raf because he was feeling down. So it was our role as parents to just continually listen to Raf and say, really, the grades were, the teachers are more difficult with you than with you. So we listen, we talk, but mindful of our goal, how to build the self-worth of Rafael, because he really needed a lot of encouragement. That's why discovering he was going to be like a public speaker at grade 3 ata yun, no, Raf, or grade 4, he started giving talks with us in parenting. And when Dav said, I will also give a talk, my psychologist friend said, no, don't get David involved, just Raf. We want first to build the confidence of Rafael. And it took us up to about grade 6. The camping also helped in terms of building the self-worth of Raf. So when his self-worth was in place, the fighting, the rivalry, the bullying stopped also. That's why the very important role of the letter E, energy of parents, is important. That.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That it's very inspiring because our audience now know that problems would come in, these things happen. It's really just a matter how are we going to deal with these problems in a positive way, with a positive outlook, and helping the kids also realize that this is something that they can overcome, and something that they themselves have to deal with. So yeah, it's not really putting them in a bubble and say no, there's no problem in this family, but really face the problems that the family encounters and be able to come up with something positive out of it. Yeah. So thank you
Yeah,
for sharing that.
we had consequences. What was the consequence when the two of you fight? Do you remember?
Time out.
Time out. How long
Out.
was the time?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. And what was the feeling pag you are apart from each other? What's the consequence there?
We want to play.
Lonely. So they get lonely because they're apart. They're in two different places. They do not see each other. So I
Oh,
don't ever tell them anything about it or what. But the consequence of putting them apart while working on the self-worth also helped there. It was not easy. Oh my gosh. But it's worth the parents really do the right thing, because if we did not build their self-worth, my gosh, they're friends to each other now. In addition to being brothers. So it can happen if we work at it.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that. We have a question here from one of our audience, from Mayang Ruiz Pasquin. How about online games? How to handle in a real scenario of how kids access games? So especially now that we're doing distance learning, they now have their gadgets on hand. So how do we now help have that discipline on handling gadgets and doing online games?
I think online, the gaming is one activity of the child. The parent needs to sit down, just like having a lesson plan. What are the goals? What are the things you want to learn or you want to do? And usually there are several, or at least the parent will need to introduce, there's online game about talking to friends also online because they cannot go out now, or maybe learning something new online. So it is the role of the parent to introduce them to other activities, whether it's online or it's face to face. But we have to do all of this and talk to them in a respectful and nice manner. Kasi usually, galit yung magulang. Or the parent will say, ano ba yan? Diba? Nagagalit na. But you can ask the child, what is it that you like about the online gaming? And how can we replicate that in other areas? Because learning can be achieved, or the fun, if it's fun, can be achieved in different ways. Raf, you're nodding your head. What do you have to add there?
Ano lang siguro. I mean, now, before kasi everything digital was solely for entertainment, but now digital is also for education. So you'll have to kind of take a look at what digital items they can use for education and what digital things they can use, which will be more for entertainment, right? I mean, they definitely have to take a look at the tech. And so you might as well, as a parent, rather than not understand it, you might as well research what the necessary technologies are that you'll want your kids to be familiar with, because that will help them in their work in the future, and in adapting to this changing landscape. That said, parang it's really your responsibility to make sure that they meet up with other kids or have some sort of like playtime. So you have to be creative. I don't know if you're gonna teach them cards or board games or I don't know, drawing. There are many things you can do naman at home, no? Or even just if you go outside, like just in your driveway or on the street. No? So kailangan lang pag-isipan talaga. Or if there are families that are safe now, na like neighbors that are COVID free, then maybe you can organize something. No? It has to be like that. So we have to think small community again. I think it's very important for you to assemble that community or that village feel around your child, so that they don't grow up in isolation from others.
That's good, Raf.
Yeah, also if you can, like there are people who offer lessons for whatever, guitar, piano, voice lessons. Alam ko may basketball lessons. They can find that online because there are people offering that, and that can be a substitute to the games. So they're learning something also while they're online.
Our daughter Jika learned to play the ukulele online, and now we exercise online. There's this walk one by Leslie. You can follow the exercise. So I think now it's not so much as the gadget itself, but how to make it really work for us that parents have to be aware of, because the COVID times really has just made life difficult for us in the sense that we cannot physically go to other places. But I agree with Raf. The neighborhood might be a good resource these days.
Okay, thank you. So we have here another question from Maricar Cruz from Sampaloc, Manila. They're asking for tips for parents who will assist schooling of at home but are also full-time employees. So now with the distance learning, actually we've been hearing also a lot of comments from parents who are worried, no, have this are terrified with this distance learning and home-based schooling, because it will also demand a lot from the parents, especially at this time. But of course, they care.
Right. So I guess the parents have to plan out the team of teachers they're not anymore the school teachers. Though I don't know how much time if you still enroll the school that the school teachers are there, but to look in the neighborhood or maybe family that they can talk to via Zoom or Messenger in terms of who can teach maybe the math or teach certain subjects or supervise or tutor so that the parent can also work. Uh, or if the parent's not familiar with the topic, then it is now a different mode on how to just still create a team to help out. Maybe there's an older cousin that can maybe sit down with one of your kids for a while, or maybe giving guidelines also to the child, no, about this one, then I will come back to you. Because if they are, we say tutoring is usually done up to about grade 4 based on our study. So parents really have to be patient with that as well. And let's not look at the grades per se. It is really the learning and working towards making our children a happy person. Raf, you want to add something there?
No, okay. I
Okay.
agree.
All right. There are other questions?
Oh.
Reggie?
Yes, there's a sharing here from Miss Mai Monteser. She says here, I give my daughter responsibilities here at home in cleaning her room, washing the dishes every after lunch and dinner. Then she would have a chance to use her phone and checking also what she watches on YouTube. Most importantly, pag may klase na sila, she needs to learn to balance her time. So yun, that's the sharing of Miss Mai. So already, no, I don't know, I read somewhere that the kids who are given household chores tend to be when they become adult.
Right. Actually, yes. Studies show household chores are it's a good way of teaching children to be responsible and to be able to manage the time. And I guess for the parents to work out a schedule from the time we did that with our kids, from the time they wake up to the time they sleep, we have to write down the schedule and activities. And each child will have their own order of activities. So, like with Rafael, he wanted to play first before he study. With David, it was study first, then the play. So we have to respect the preferences of each child. Yeah.
Okay. So there, and there's another question here from it says, can you advise to parents who are struggling right now because of generation gap?
Generation gap.
I think no. You can probably Google behavior of Generation Z and Generation Y, and you'll probably come up with a lot of information on things. No, and if that doesn't work, then maybe you just have to ask. I'm sure you have a niece or a nephew or a friend with a child. You just ask that child who's a little older than your own child to explain to you, because they'll probably be very open with you. So that's one way to do it. No, kasi I don't have kids, but when I try to understand how the students we work with in travel behave, I usually ask one of them, how do your classmates behave? What do they like? What do they dislike? How do they think? How do they interact with their parents? Right? Or I ask a parent who kind of describes his or her child in detail, or the teacher, probably the best source of information. I mean, there's no excuse not to know the differences between you and your child, because you have all the information, you have all the connections already in front of you, whether it's Google or a teacher or someone else. No? You just have to put the effort into it, I think. Ano kasi, people don't, parang nobody tells you you have to, but it's something you definitely have to do. And when you see that generation gap, then you'll start, you'll be able to think more of like how you're going to attack the situation, no? Or respond to it. But in general, parang I think the principle really is finding the right people, surrounding your child with the right people, so that if you can't yet send the message directly to your child, then the people that the child trusts can also help reinforce the message for you.
Yeah. Also, I think regardless of generation, also, if you will practice some of the things that we mentioned, like the listening and the paraphrasing and the iMessage, regardless of generation, it's really a healthy. It's really the relationship, the skills in listening or in speaking that will really contribute to giving to making a good making a good relationship between you and your kids. And I think that's parang regardless of you know, what generation people are. I mean, you can speak well and listen well to people your age or to people older than you or to people slightly younger than you, and the effect will be the same. You establish a good relationship with those people. So that goes with the same also, whether or not they're from Gen Z or millennials or the Generation Y. I think what's important is to listen well, to speak well, and yeah, we give make time for the person talaga. So yeah.
And especially, actually, one complaint of many uh, teenagers, their parents are negative. So the parent might want, it's a generation gap, not only because what Raf said about the information which can easily get, or two, the communication technique that David mentioned, but three, am I perceived as a positive? Do I accept and respect my son or daughter? Because if the perception of the child is, I am not respected, I'm not loved, I am not enough for my parents, lagi na lang nakikita yung negative sa akin, then you can expect a gap. Even if you have the skill on communication or you have the information. So the parent has to be a positive, catching them doing good. And that's our letter E, the energy and the encouragement that we need to give to our children.
Yeah, thank you. So speaking of communication, yeah, yes, as Dav mentioned, no, right now, especially with most of the people, hunkering down, staying at home, all the kids are doing school at home. Most of the parents, well, a lot of parents doing work at home. How can you now avoid you because of course interaction now is more longer. Everybody's at home. Maybe a lot are already experiencing cabin fever. So how do you now make communication feel harmonious and wala yung inisan dahil nga you've been in the house for a long period of time.
Sorry.
Yeah. So you're saying parang now naman the relationship can also be unhealthy because there is too much time together. And so what you do is to divide your home into different parts and agree. Uh, Schedule also the time together. You cannot be with each other also 24/7. You might be fighting. So you take breaks from each other and agree on, somebody will be in the living room, the other one's in the dining or in the kitchen or your bedroom or master's bedroom. If there is a small porch or lanai that will help. So uh, agree on what is a good time to interact that will be meaningful because beyond a certain level can be an overdose of each other. Or some parents, kasi I hear, oh, let us make up for lost time. Oh my gosh, hindi pwede mag-cramming and let the children be there always with you. If they are below 10 years old, maybe they will agree. But if there are teenagers or preteens, you talk about the scheduling of the time together. Okay? Because I know parents with younger kids who have overdose already. So they also let their younger kids know, Mama will time out, I will rest first or read my book. Maybe you can play this game or maybe you can talk to this cousin or a friend. So both ways it can be toxic. Again, manage time and space with each family member. Okay?
Okay. Raf and Dav, you want to add anything on the
Go ahead.
kids with you?
Yeah, just have that space between you and your other family members. Work on your own thing. Yeah, go for your own goals. Meet them at dinner time. That's it.
Meet them at dinner time, lunchtime. Yeah. Or parents, I had a parent that required all the kids to be there breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But they were
Okay.
some of them were teenagers or young adults. They don't require 3 meals a day. Maybe you choose 2 meals or you ask for 1 meal. 1 meal is good already. So our objectives or goals have to be age appropriate also with the children and matching also their preferences. Yep, Raf. Yeah, Raf is in his office and we see him at
Mm,
about 9 p.m.
yeah. Well, I guess it's important to delineate the space lang in the
Want
house so that you
to add anything, Raf?
can just yeah, create clear work playing areas and work areas. You might as well declutter your house so that you create more space. I'm sure every house can declutter a bit. And that process of decluttering might be a good way for you guys to bond as well. And um, ano kasi parang I guess parents are always I'm sure everyone's thinking about livelihood, about work. But if you do have a job and you're not gonna lose it naman, then I guess this is an opportunity to connect with your inner child as well. Because you probably need to de-stress as well. So maybe your kid can teach you something that's fun. Um,
Okay, thank you. We have a question here from Father Georgie Innocent, SDB Solutions of Don Bosco from the Bosco Bacolor. He says here, use global technologies to create small villages. This framework describes what Google Classroom or any other digital platform teaching and learning tries to achieve. School children do a lot of adjustments in learning things now. How can teachers and parents collaborate, quote unquote, online in bringing about education to the children?
Parents and kids and teachers collaborate online to bring education to kids.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
now, unlike before, you will meet the teacher or the teacher, right?
Well, maybe it would be good if there was some
But now
sort
everything's
of
online,
like,
and how do you think we kind of adjust?
yeah, yeah. Well, the best practices I see with some of the more forward-thinking schools that I've worked with. There's a school in Singapore where like the teacher is really fills out personal assessments of the students. But the parent also has to fill out that assessment. I remember mom helped me in grade 4 when she was talking to my teacher, and she was telling him how to, how best to work with me, right? And ano yun eh, it's a tag team approach. So um, I think it's as simple as just having a Google form or Google sheet that the teacher and the parent shares, and then you can kind of write comments there. Now, this is what my child is interested in now or something. Because it's helpful, especially for teachers who invest so much in the children. Any kind of information they have in the interest of the child can help them probably make the learning content more interesting, more relevant. So parents can, yeah, if you want your child to learn a lot, um, empowering the teacher with information will definitely be helpful.
right. We had that in school, especially when Rafael was extra sensitive, or to I there were cases wherein the teacher will raise the voice, and with Raf at the time, if you raise his voice, he can clam up. So I coordinated with the teachers, and I think that's what parents can do, to coordinate with teachers, so that it is really seen. It's really a community that is building this child. So a Google form that transfers to you, how do you usually discipline your child? How can you um, how do you usually get the cooperation of your child? What do you say or what do you do? So the parent, uh, if the parent knows the child really well, can give information to the teacher, and maybe the teacher also has information that the teacher can give also to the parent on how best to bring out the good qualities and how to manage the areas of improvement of each child. And without home-based schooling, we still have to coordinate with the teacher, or if it's other adults uh, in the home, or maybe working together with you with your children. You have to be all informed about the goals and process that will bring out the best.
Yes, I've said, no, the parents during this time of distance learning has to really pitch in. So because whereas for most of the time, well, majority of the day, the kids are in school. So but now they're at home. So really, there has to be, as well as we talked about, communication, an open communication between the teacher and the parent, no? So and the parent, so to be able to give feedback as well. How is the kid doing at home, and versa. So there. So yeah. Let's see if we have other questions here coming in.
That's why the parenting skills, my gosh, are really going to be put to test now. If parents
Correct.
don't know how to listen and how to talk, you better beef up on that skill. Anyway, even if it will cut on your work hours for a few days, it's going to pay off. It's going to really be a joyful experience to be able to connect with each of your children. So this is a good opportunity.
That's true. And I've heard also in one parenting talk that a successful parent is a deliberate parent. So it's just like with any other things that you have to put yourself into. You have to plan, you have to strategize, you have to put in some action points. So anything, especially, most especially in parenting. So there.
Right.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add?
Uh,
Yeah.
well, for the parents, Alan and I have enjoyed our sons and our daughter, not not because they are good persons. They are really given to us by God as really good persons, but it is up to us parents to really, bring out the diamonds in them. And there are things, the cobwebs that we have to remove, or to help them shine. And it takes a process, but it is a joyful process, and we need to update and upgrade our knowledge on how to go about this, because it can happen even I think a very challenging child. Do the work immediately. Do not postpone, because our children are waiting for us to really do our job at parenting. And it's good that Bosco will be able to give you more information. So stay tuned to the other information that we'll be sharing with you.
Correct. Thank you. I think we have time for one more question. Um, let's see here. Maybe we could ask Dav and Raf, what is the most memorable instance or event wherein you knew that you were supported by your parents?
Supported by parents. Yeah,
Yes.
well, ako, I've always felt their support. Um, maybe the time that the yung pinaka I felt their support was maybe during a breakup
With
with a
girlfriend.
girlfriend. Yeah, maybe that's when I felt their support the most also. So yeah, and it was kasi well in general naman they've been very supportive. But it was when in those low times when
Heartbreak is
heartbreak
really heartbreak, no?
heartbreak moments. My parents were really
Oo.
there. What about you, Raf?
Heartbreak too.
But to be able, but to be able to a sheep has to have been
Heartbreak,
fostered, no? At the beginning. The child relationship has to have been fostered for you to be able to go to your parents when you have a heartbreak. So it's very important. Thank you.
I tell parents that is the reward you get. You are you are part of the loop of the love story of your children. If you know how to listen, if you have aged the happy relationship or uh, and then you know how to listen and you are a energized and encouraging parent, then you will start their love life. Raf,
Okay.
Mm,
Quadraft.
I think a big help is really, I guess, navigating strategic decisions in your life. Relationship being one of them, but also like um, conversation about what to do in the pandemic. Papa's very helpful uh, in like giving a longer term view, uh, or even even in career. Mom was also very helpful after in my first job, just kind of telling me that you're not that's the wrong ecosystem for you. Uh, and it definitely helps. No? So when you have like these big decisions, that you can talk to both of them. I think also that uh, kids don't see it early on, right? And maybe you have to find one of your friends who will be the cool tito or cool tita to your child. Na siya yung pagtatanungan, di ba? Right? Because I see some of my friends don't like asking their parents, or they don't think their parents have it. But it's having that network around, no? And sometimes when I have questions, mom kinds of thinks of people who I should be asking, and she's connected me to different people who can help me on that way, and it's very helpful now. The power of being able to utilize one's network is unbelievable if you just really sit down and think about it. So I think as a parent, you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to know how to find them, and your network might be part of that solution.
Yeah, well said. Rebel, you want to any instance that you remember, you think that you've given all your support to your kid?
I didn't get that. Huh? Rafael?
Can you add anything to what and Dav has mentioned in terms of the support that you and Alan have given your children?
Well, we try to give if the question is in terms of the support, well, I'm just happy to hear what they both said that we can help. Uh, and again, you know, I'm just glad we know how to ask the right questions and to talk um, because I have many friends who complain, Maribel, 10% na lang ata ng kwento ang naririnig ko, kung minsan zero pa nga. So, and that's why I joke other parents, parents, we have to know how to behave properly, how to talk properly so that our children will talk to us also. Because they can decide to talk to other people. And it is sad if that happens because they want to really reach out to us, but they're just waiting that we know how to make time, how to listen, how to talk, and to give them value, to encourage them, which is very important. They all come to play. These four ingredients we've been mentioning this morning: the healthy relationship, the open communication, the make the made to order study habits is about the discipline and energy and encouragement. We have to really learn these four basic principles.
Okay, thank you. And this morning has been very productive and very enlightening for all of us who are listening to this session. So maybe just a little parting words as before we end this session?
You have any
Yeah.
words?
Go out on that date with your kids. Just like what I said a while ago.
Raf? You have anything, Raf?
Just make sure that you go on a date with your spouse also, so that you're happy for your children.
Yep, that's good. And yes, the mommies might forget their husband. Do not forget your husband. You don't like a third party in the marriage. So have your weekly date with your spouse and a daily chat with your spouse while parenting our children. Let's manage our schedule. We can have both the joy of children and the joy of our marriage, but it requires really planning and education. So thank you so much, Reggie, and to Don Bosco for inviting all of us.
Thank you for accepting the invitation. And this is not the last that we will see of you. We are planning to have more Chalk Talk Onlines with the Love Institute. So we'll be seeing more of Maribel and maybe Alan also, and again, Raf
Raf and Dav, yeah.
and Dav. Stay tuned for that. So thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Maribel, Dav, and Raf, for your time. And to all our listeners and viewers today, thank you very much for spending your morning with us. Love Institute sessions. For our teachers, we still have our ongoing sessions for you. Just go to our Facebook page, watch out for our next Chalk Talk online sessions, and then just sign up or talk to your Salesian account executives. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.
Quality education through quality textbooks.